Welcome to the Greek realm.
Episode 3, Age of Titans, Part 2. Time was not measured at the beginning, despite there being a Titan of it, so it was hard for anyone to know how long it was till the Queen of the Titans gave birth to a second child. She saw the child's black as night hair and nearly empty eyes. The boy did not cry, and at first she and the others were not entirely sure that he had come out complete. They had seen animals give birth to incomplete children that never took their first breaths. There was silence all around for a few moments. Everyone gathered were trying to figure out what to do or say. Even Rhea herself was frozen in place, trying to figure out if something she could say would fix it or explain why the child did not cry. She thought for a second that she saw her son's eyes move a little, but her attention was drawn away by Kronos coming from behind her, his figure towering over her. Her arms were mostly limp as he picked the child up from them. The second the babe was in his father's hands instead of those of his mother, a loud wail came from him, causing everyone to release the breath they had been holding. Rhea felt her heart twist as if trying to rip itself from her chest as her consort raised the boy to his lips. The sound of him swallowing echoed in her ears, and all she could do was watch in horror as her second child was eaten before her eyes. In her mind and heart, she named the boy Hades, and gave up the hope of ever seeing him again. When the time drew near for their third child to be born, Rhea was intent on saving it. She came up with a plan to hopefully make him unwilling to consume the small creature. Each day, as the time passed, she made him a huge feast, sometimes filling up whole valleys as the pot for the stews, and having to make pita in volcanoes. Each and every day she fed him the large amount of food, and he would have no choice but to sleep for the rest of the day afterwards, being so full that he did not ask for anything until the next day. She believed if she could keep him satisfied and full, it would be impossible for him to have enough room for the child. The day she was born went the same as Rhea had planned. She gave birth to her second daughter, while the king of the world was still sleeping away the food hangover he had been given by his partner. She had the day to hold her daughter close, stroking the bits of blonde hair and marveling in her amber eyes. She named the girl Demeter, being certain that she could keep up the meals if that would keep her safe. The next day she hid the babe so she could make the daily meal without Kronos finding out that she had given birth already. It took her hours to finish it, as it always did. The queen went to where her king was lying comfortably on his back, presenting him with the food that he had come to expect. She gave him the smile she always had prepared for him. He looked at the food she was bringing, boredom on his face.
"No, thank you, lovely one. I'm not hungry today."
This confused Rhea. "But, great one, you have not eaten since yesterday. Should you not eat?"
He looked her in the eye. "I have already eaten today, beloved. I am not hungry."
Rhea felt her heart sink. She ran from the spot and went to where she had left her daughter, hidden as safely as she could have made her. Demeter was gone. There was no sign of her. Her husband had managed to best her again. She had not given up when it came time to bear the fourth child that she had been given by Kronos. This time, she hid when she gave birth, then tried to think of a way to keep her baby boy in a place he would not be found or hurt. The tiny newborn looked around with his curious sea blue eyes, and she gasped in astonishment as he changed into an animal she had never seen before. It had a long face, 4 spindly legs, long and beautiful hair that came from both the neck and the rear. "You are brilliant, my son." She took land from around them and molded it into the shape that her child had taken. The foal, that was the godling, bucked in happiness at the sight. He ran around the formed earth until he came forward and touched noses with it. A snort came from the nose, and soon the creature was alive, trotting alongside the Prince of Creation. Rhea nodded and proceeded to wrap the living statue in the boy's baby blanket. "Stay, Poseidon. I will return for you, I swear it." She left the solitude of the place she had chosen, going straight to where Kronos was. She held out to him the creature for him to hold. "Our son changed after he was born. He turned into this animal. I do not know what to do." Kronos looked at the bundle, nodding his head.
"You are right to come here, dearest. I shall take care of matters."
He took the four-legged creature and brought it to his mouth. However, he stopped before it completely arrived. With a fingernail, he scratched one of the legs, seeing red blood come from it as it would from any mortal animal. He glared at the mother of his children, pushing her aside and going back in the direction she had come. Rhea tried her best to slow him down, but he continued on in the direction he was sure he would find his latest threat. Rhea cried as they drew closer to the place, and the cries only got louder as she saw her son watching them with some confusion. Kronos was easily able to pick him up and swallow him whole. With the fifth child, Rhea was very tired. She was angry that nothing she had done with the previous two had been enough for her to keep them and raise them as the other Titanesses were allowed to do. So with the fifth child, the woman ran. She ran as far as she could, to other parts of the large continent, in an attempt to be as far away from the king as it was possible to get. It was a fruitless venture, as he was always close behind her, always aware of where she was. She begged her siblings to take the child once it was born and hide it away as best they could, but they told her there was nothing they could do against their mighty brother. As a result, when Rhea did finally give birth, it was a simple thing for Kronos to find her and take their third daughter, whose name would have been Hera. When she became pregnant with a sixth child, Rhea felt as if she was broken. She collapsed onto the ground, begging her mother to help her. The ground around her formed itself into a cradle. "Sweet daughter, why do you weep so much? What troubles you?" "Kronos is going to eat my child, as he has done with everyone I have borne to him. There is nothing I can do to stop him. I've tried everything. I cannot stand it to happen again, mother." The earth cradle rocked back and forth gently, soothing her as much as it could. "No, that will not happen, dear one. He will not consume this one. That I swear to you. I will help you protect your son. You must follow my instructions to the letter, all of them, if this is to succeed. Do you trust me?" Rhea nodded, knowing that she had no choice if she wanted her king to fail in the attempt to eat their latest babe. Gaia rocked her to sleep, whispering to her how it would be, relaying the plan they would follow to save the newborn when the time came. As the time passed, Rhea did everything her mother had told her to. She followed the instructions to the letter, making sure she did not forget a single detail. She gathered a nymph named Amalthea, and had her choose a few others that could be trusted. After those were gathered, she found mortals that could be used to guard against animals and low-level monsters. It was slow going, since the queen could only look when she was sure that Kronos was not watching her and would not go looking for her. Gaia found a cave that they agreed would work to raise the child in, though she did have to make it a little larger to be able to fit everything inside it comfortably. Time did not slow, and it was not long before the time drew near for the plan to be put into action. At first, when it was time to give birth, Rhea hid, knowing that she had to buy herself at least a few moments before being found by Kronos. She knew it would waste time, but she could not help wanting to hold the baby for just a few moments. When the child was born, she held him close, watching his sky-blue eyes open and look straight at her. His round face, tiny toes, and tiny fingers were more perfect than anything the woman had seen in her life. "When you return, Zeus, you will be the strongest, most perfect god in all the world. You will save the others and lead them to safety." She kissed his soft forehead, rocking him in her arms. Tiny Zeus grabbed a strand of her hair, but did not pull it. Instead, he held it gently. She smiled and placed him in the arms of Amalthea. "Be good to him. Teach him all that you know and more. If any harm is to come to him, you had best be dead first, or I will make sure the Titans destroy you." Amalthea bowed low as she answered, "As you wish, my lady." Rhea nodded and motioned for her to leave. "Go, he'll be here at any moment, and I cannot have you here when he is, or he will see through everything." Again the nymph bowed, and then ran away as quickly as she could. A baby-shaped rock appeared next to Rhea, and she quickly wrapped it in a cloth as she would any newborn. It was not long till she saw the figure of Kronos in the distance. She gently placed down the small bundle and stood up, taking a defensive position. "No! Turn back, Kronos. Let me have just this one. You've taken all the others from me, you cannot have this one too." Kronos came closer, not paying very much heed to the command. "If I let this one escape, it will be the one to overthrow me. I cannot allow that.
Aside, Rhea. That is an order from your king.
Rhea shook her head. No. The two of them fought, each one fierce as could be. Rhea did her best to not give any ground, but Kronos was larger and stronger than her. It was a harsh fight that leveled mountains in the struggle, but Rhea was aware that she had to lose. She kept him fighting for hours before finally letting him gain the upper hand. He fought past her, reaching the bundle, and swallowed it whole as quickly as he could. Rhea went limp, curling into a ball in defeat. Kronos stood towering over her.
You should have never tried to betray me like that. It is over. Just accept it. Come back and continue your place as my queen. All of this silliness is over now.
Rhea stayed curled up, not moving at his words. He sighed.
You will see the error of your ways, and as long as you don't do it again, everything will go back to normal.
He walked away as if there was nothing wrong in his world. Rhea sighed her relief. Her last son was safe.
Thank you so much for joining us.